Hey there YouTube, NHORC here, bringing you a quick video on how to change the rims on your TRX4M. So in my case, I'm keeping the stock tires. I like the stock tire look, but I want to have this nice white rim to match the Bronco's white paint. So I've already done this on this side, as you can see. I think it looks very nice, but it is quite tricky to do with these Injora beadlocks. So there are not a ton, well, there's a good amount of 1.0 options out there. However, these particular ones are unlike any ones I've done before. I've done 3 or 4 sets of beadlocks, and these are really tricky. So I wanted to make a quick video on how to do it. The first thing you're going to do, pop your tire off. These are 5mm center hexes, so if you've lost your wheel tool, just grab a 5mm socket out of your toolbox. So first thing you're going to do, pop that old rim out. Try not to tear your rubber. If you tear your rubber, you're in a bad way. And you just kind of pop these off. Manhandle them a bit. There you go. That's out of the way. Throw that guy off to the side. Put your tire to the side. So the first thing you need to do is get these two out. You're going to need a 0.5mm Allen wrench for these. These are not fun to work with. I'll put a link to this in the description if you don't have a good 0.5mm. If you use cheap ones, you're just going to strip everything and have a really unfun time. So let's run these out. There you go. So you've got your hex that goes onto the wheel. You've got your front part of the beadlock, the ring, and the rear part. If you've got brass wheel weights from Injora, this is the time to put them in. So what you're going to do here, take your ring. There's a trick to this, and that's why I'm making this video as its own short video. Shove your ring into your tire. And make sure the lip is pretty much kind of just sitting on that ring all the way around as best you can. Take your rear side and put it on the table and pop it through. What you want to make sure at this stage is that the lip is all the way under, and then you're going to put your top one on. And this is where the trick comes in. The first time I was doing this, I was trying and trying to get this thing to go, and I just absolutely couldn't get it anywhere near, right? Like, you're trying and trying and trying to push, but there's still this huge gap in the center. So there's a trick to this. In the pile of screws they give you, most of them are button heads that are this long. However, there are several that are kind of a rounded head that are a good bit longer. Right, so these are very hard to work with, right? So there you go. I'm holding the ends. What you need is you need 2 of the long ones, or more, I suppose, if you wanted. And what you do is you take your rear piece. So the first thing you do is you try to line up your holes as best you can. So you may need to do that before you put the top part on. Try to line up the lug nut holes. You put that on. Same with the rear. Line the lug nut holes up. And then what you're going to do is take one of your long screws. Just move that, sorry. Take one of your long screws, drop it through, and actually you can take the rear piece off for this. And then you want to make sure it's lining up and hitting one of the back holes. This is a little tricky. especially if you're rotated a little bit, if you're not lined up front to back, which it looks like I may not be. You can also take your Allen and kind of push it around a little bit. So you should be able to get this one to go in. Okay, we're caught now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold that. I'm going to put this piece on. This black part has the threading. And right there. And now I'm going to really drive with a lot of pressure that screw in till it catches. And this is taking most of my strength. And then, okay, that one's caught. So there, okay, these actually do hold air, interestingly. So I think I'm going to have to back that one out and let the air back in, oddly. Okay, got the air let back in. I'm going to try to not squeeze the tire. So you want to squeeze the rim and not the tire, or you're going to have some like negative air pressure in there somehow. Alright, so I'm not touching the tire at all this time. I'm just pushing as hard as I can. That's caught. No, it's not. Ah, damn. Oh, I didn't have that lined up properly. Alright. I think I felt it catch that time. Yep, I did. Alright, you're going to take your other long screw. You're going to go 90 degrees, 180 degrees across from it. So I did this one, and I'm doing this one. Get that one in. Same thing. Get some good pressure on the back until you feel it catch. Now it's caught. So they're caught, but you've still got this big, huge standoff in the middle. So now all you're going to do, put it on the table and run them in. So you're going to go back and forth. You do 5 or 6 screws on each and then just hop back and forth, back and forth. And this is pulling the whole thing together using mechanical force instead of trying to use just brute strength, because I found it was just not possible to use brute strength on this. So once you get close enough where you can use the short guys that are supposed to be here, put one of those on, use Loctite. This is a metal to metal threading. You don't want to have these coming out. And then put it in next to it. Give it a little push. Okay, now that one's caught. Okay, now I'm going to walk straight across from that. Actually, at this point, no, you don't need the 2 long ones. So at this point, you back the 2 long ones out that you started with, because they're no longer doing the work. Put them aside and replace them with the short guys. Alright, now we've got all 6 of the bolts that are going to stay in there. So now we're going to just start going around in a star. These are a little tricky, because what I found was that my socket actually started hitting the bolts at a certain point, the lug nuts. So right there, that's it. There's a little bit of play this way, but there is on the stock wheels too. Even though there's not as much sticking out, these rims aren't as deep as the stock rims, right? You can see the stock rims have a very deep bowl versus these, which have a much shallower bowl. So you're just not going to have as much sticking out. So that's how you do it. I hope this helped. If this did help, Please like, please subscribe. That's the big one. I need those subs. And thanks for watching.